Hi, hello, and welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing okay. Today we're gonna unbox something and then do something with what we have unboxed. And it is a sketchbook. We're basically just gonna paint on the sketchbook and hope it looks okay. So first is the unboxing part. I bought this from Splendith because I had just finished my other notebook or sketchbook. Well, to be very honest, while filming this, I hadn't finished that sketchbook yet, but when filming the last part, I had. So, I get some credit for that. And I ordered a small one because I worked in an A5 one before. So I wanted to have a smaller one this time because I just wanted to have a different size. And going a size bigger was too expensive. So I thought, well, let's go down a size. And I ordered this as Splendid, and they always package up everything so nicely. I mean, oh my gosh, look at that paper. I always try so hard not to rip it, and then it does. I never know what to do with the paper once I have kept it. I have like a drawer with some pretty pieces of paper, and maybe I will use it in a journal one day, but I'm not that creative with collaging or anything. So here we have the sketchbooks. So exciting. It's actually two, because one is for another project, which I will talk about a little bit more later on. And then I couldn't not order anything else. So I ordered some extra stuff, mostly because so I could get free shipping. I ordered white gouache because it's always empty. White gouache is just the thing that I go through like crazy. I have this from the cheapest brand that I could find because, well, I wouldn't be able to afford it if I would buy this from Holbein. I also got a Tombow pen and some washi tape. I'm slowly collecting the Tombow pens. I have 3 now, and they are very nice to have with you when you go somewhere to sketch. Like you have a pen with you, and then you can just shade in with the lightest colors of Tombow pens. So they're very fun to use, but I only have 3, so it's not a whole collection. Then we have this sketchbook, the first one. It's an accordion sketchbook. I am super excited to see how this is gonna work out. I always found them a little bit awkward, accordion sketchbooks, because you have to have such a feeling for composition to make this work. And I'm always afraid that I'm gonna rip the pages. So what an accordion sketchbook is basically is that there is one large piece of paper in there and you fold it out. But you can also flip through it like a sketchbook. And in this sketchbook, I want to paint all kinds of nudibranch, like the sea slugs, or the specific kind, well, the specific branch of sea slugs. And I wanted to have that in here. And my hopes is that this, because like this, it's one big piece of paper, my hope is that I can keep it like a sketchbook, but still be able to scan it very flat. Because I always have a little bit of trouble scanning something from a sketchbook. I'm gonna stain this paper so it gets an adventure feel. I hope it won't buckle too much. And like you see here, it doesn't lay flat, so you have to open it 3 parts, or 4 even, before it lays flat. So I'm not sure how this is gonna work. I have to get used to this for sure, but I'm very excited to work in it. And the red is really pretty on the front. I ordered both sketchbooks in hot press, just to try it out. So here's the new sketchbook. I was so hesitant to buy this because I think I said it in a previous video. And if you're new here, you obviously haven't heard that. And if you have seen previous videos, I'm not even sure if I mentioned it, but this sketchbook is white. And I'm always so afraid that this will get so dirty. Like, give me a dark colored sketchbook, or brightly colored but flat, like a smooth surface so I can clean it, because it will get dirty. And this, like the white with the texture, It will get dirty, of course. But I've seen some people paint on this and make it super pretty. So I thought, well, let's give it a try. It's way cheaper than the sketchbook grade above this from the same brand. So let's just try it out. Downside to the Etchr sketchbooks that I found is that these pages, these first two that you see right now, are glued together, and so are the last two. They are glued together in a way like you can bend your pages and still paint on it, but when I did that, very, very carefully, it still ripped my sketchbook apart. Tiny intermezzo to show you how to recycle this, because they say recycle, but obviously this can go into the paper. And now we get started on painting. So, like I said, people have such pretty sketchbooks from this. They make it so pretty, and I wanted to do that too. So I wanted to think about what to paint on it. I have these two examples. Those are my business cards. And I have a whole box full of landscapes I've been painting. I'm setting myself 100 landscape challenge, so I've been painting a lot of landscapes. Before that I painted 20. So I have quite some. And I was just going to get through them to see what would fit best on top. So let me speed through that, as maybe you can see some landscapes as well. I'm making multiple stacks. This is everything that I do not think will fit right on the sketchbook. So that's a whole stack. We'll lay that aside. And then we have this that I think will look okay on the sketchbook. I'm trying to puzzle out here what will fit best, and I'm not sure. And spoiler alert, I have painted this as I am the voiceover Denise, voiceover Denise of the future. I have painted it and I'm still not sure if I chose the right one. What I want to do is have that pink, that pinkish color on top, because I think it looks really pretty, looks warm, more inviting for the sketchbook. And I was afraid if I was going to do it, make it blue, that the blue would stand out too much because of how white the sketchbook was. I'm not sure if that makes sense. And then I thought this one with the black and the night sky, I could always do that if I screwed up what I was going to paint, because I can just paint black all over it. So I was making the decision between these two, and eventually I went for the left one with the river on it, so not the mountains one. And I just started to paint. In a moment, a time lapse will start and you will see me paint it. What I want to let you enjoy that time lapse, so I already want to say some things that I struggled with, or what I noticed that I think that you should know if you want to do the same thing and paint your sketchbook. First of all is that I read a lot about this sketchbook and I've seen some people painting it. Some people gesso it beforehand, others don't. I didn't. But man, this was hard to paint. The canvas is really dusty, almost the canvas comes off. So it was hard to paint on this. You also, you can see, it doesn't open all the way up, so it's hard to paint continuously on everything. So I decided to just paint on the front. And yeah, it needed a lot of work. Now I do paint with gouache, and with non-acrylic gouache, so normal gouache. And maybe that makes it harder. Maybe if I were to use acrylics, then it would one layer down and then it would go easier. That could be it, but I don't have that. So I just used gouache. You cannot blend on this. It's hard to work with. And you will see me struggling a little bit with painting this. There's also not a whole lot of room of details because the grain of the canvas, to call it like that, is just too big. So there is no room for details. I've got way more detail on the tiny A7 paper than I got on this one. Also, painting on your sketchbook is scary because if it doesn't work out, like you've ruined the white with your first stroke. So after that, you just have to power through. And what I tell myself and what I keep telling myself is if it doesn't work out, if you don't like it after a while, you can paint it a solid color. Like buy one tube of acrylics and just paint it one color. So yeah, I will let you enjoy this little, how will you say that, time lapse. I'm not sure there's another word. I don't know. Like this little pieced together footage of me painting the front of this sketchbook. I already want to thank you a lot for watching. If you have any questions about this, leave them down below. And I will get back to you before the end of the video, but thank you in advance. Okay, so we are now at the point where the first layer is done. You can see it's very light, very blotchy. It was hard to get it down. So we'll just let it dry. Fast forward. Whoa, editing makes everything so easy. And then just lay in extra layers. And I think I have to lay down 3 layers, maybe 4, but you can see already with this, it's taking it a lot better when the first layer is down. So I think when you're going to do this, maybe gessoing is the way to go, or just first pour down a layer of acrylics. So yeah, I will just continue to paint layer after layer, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, we're at the point that maybe we have one more layer. I am gonna paint the little alpaca, and then I'm gonna varnish it with watercolor varnish. I am fully aware that it's watercolor varnish and not gouache varnish. I have no idea how it's gonna work on canvas, but on paper, this works fine for gouache. So yeah, I'm just going to get some flowers in, fix some things up, paint the alpaca, have you enjoy that, and I come back to you when I've done that. Okay, so I think I've mentioned it a few times right now, and you're probably sick of me saying this, but look, this was the A7. Like, it's super tiny, and you can see grasses hanging over the river, you can see loose flowers. The mountain has way more dimension and details. There are birds in the back. Yeah, I need to fix this, and I can do that. So I will have one more layer over this. I will fix up the river. I will hopefully get some more flowers in. Um, but on that little piece of paper, you can see all those details. And on this bigger piece, like it's twice the size, and you can't see them. It's just too coarse. Like I think I've shown you a couple of times now, and if you like you can see it right now or scroll back when I give you a close up. But it's hard to paint this now. I have never painted, like I've painted twice on canvas before, so it could just be something that you have to get used to. But from what I remember, of painting on those canvases is that the linen or cotton, I'm not sure, was very finely woven. So it wasn't that different than painting on like cold pressed paper, other than it behaved differently with the paint. But this, it just soaked up the paint. I'm aware that gesso would have fixed that. But after one layer, still it was so hard to get the paint in. I struggled with this. It was a fun project. I had fun. But I just kept looking at the paper and then at my work and then at the paper and then at my work. And, well, it was just... I was hoping to get a little bit more out of this. So it's time to varnish. I got my oldest brush, which is entirely clean. I don't mind this getting used for varnish. I use it more often, and I just don't use it for paint anymore. And I will just go over it. I had the slight hope that you would see my work underneath it. Like, you have those viral videos of awesome oil artists. I'm aware that this is not oil, but still. Of those amazing artists, and then when they use the varnish, everything gets super crisp. But that did not happen, of course. It did seal everything, so it's time. I'm gonna leave this as it is. It's time for the tape peel, so here it is. I'm happy I taped off the edges. And maybe if I'm gonna paint over this, I will paint all the way to the inside of the sketchbook, but I'm not sure. That's just musings. What did surprise me though was this. The canvas was so coarse that I didn't expect such a crisp line with the washi tape. Love a good tape peel. Okay, so this is the final result. It turned out way greener than it was in the beginning. I'm so happy with that. It's a fun little sketchbook. The back is all white. I'm thinking I'm just gonna put a sticker on there, maybe paint it one solid color. I want to leave the side white so I can write down the date once I finished. And it's cute. I've posted this on social media long since. On my Instagram, and people keep saying it's a road into my sketchbook, which is such a sweet thing to say, but it's a river. I'm okay if you see a road in it. It was hard to paint. It's okay, but it was supposed to be a river. If you do buy the sketchbook, please watch out that you have the, like I said in the beginning, the first 2 and last 2 pages. Like you see here with my full sketchbook right now, I folded the page neatly to paint. It held up for 3 pages and then it just snapped. So it's hanging on by a little bit of glue right now. I tried to glue it together again, but it just doesn't work. So yeah, that's a real bummer because the sketchbooks are kind of expensive. And for that reason, I couldn't use the last 2 pages because I was just afraid that with maybe a little bit of water in there, it would just snap and then I had no sketchbook at all. So I used them for postcards and used the other pages as last pages. So be aware. Otherwise, the sketchbooks are amazing. And I want to thank you again. I've thanked you a couple of times now, but thank you again if you're still here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.